Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. Today is Tuesday, September 10th of 2024. Looking ahead here, we have an 11-game MLB main slate later this evening, so it should be a fun day of DFS. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrew. I'm one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. This is a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS-related questions. Get your questions in one of three ways here. First off, send us an email, support@sabersim.com. Second, post it live in the YouTube chat. Third way, post it in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not in our Discord and want to get access to that channel, there was a link in the description of this video. You also get access to our similar channels, individual sport channels, and you get access to the rest of the SaberSim teams. Can't say enough good things about the Discord. But with that said, we do this show Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. And we do this show on Saturdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So tune in and get your questions answered. But with that said, we have a lot of questions to get us started today. A big conversation about one of the questions here in the Discord. So let's get SaberSim pulled up here and let's jump right in. Should be a fun day to have some discussions. So first question. I'm curious of your perspective on this. Do you have any suggestions to add value for Showdown and/or control dupes a little better in Showdown? Or has Showdown evolved to the point of trusting the Sims? Anytime I do anything beyond running the default without touching anything, I end up with a negative flashback ROI portfolio. For example, for the flea flicker last night on DK, I tried applying a light approach to control dupes. At the high end, I set a salary cap of 49.9. I ran the contest sim and filtered by show ROI greater than 0. I was left with about 1,700 lineups. I applied a geomean filter to out the top 10% geomean lineups and was left with approximately 1,500. I didn't touch min uniques. My average ROI pre-slate was about 154%, and my minimum was 123%. However, my flashback ROI for this portfolio these two questions just kind of go together. So I think it's probably good to just group them. Second question here is, how do you know how many dupes you don't want while still being reasonable? I saw the FAQ video on the geomean formula where 20 is used as the basis of the formula, but where does that come from? How do you get rid of the top 10 to 20% of lineups using geomean? Okay, so Showdown specific questions. I don't think we'll have sims up. Oh, actually, we should have an initial sim up for Thursday, because we needed it for the Monday to Thursday slate. So let's go to this slate here. I don't have any contest entries yet in this contest. So let's just talk about this. I will say that, I am planning on, for the entire season here, taking a very, very heavy Showdown specific approach to NFL DFS, just because all of these slates are uncorrelated, playing every single individual game. So I played like 16 Showdowns this week, and, I was going through my Showdown flashback process, and I'll say that, it's a little hard sometimes to figure out why you're duplicated. And I think that, the more slates you play, like the bigger your sample is going to be, right? So for instance, like there are some Showdown slates. I'm basically doing the same process across all the Showdown slates, right? Some of them I was like grading out negative, and then some of them I was grading out positive. And like I would dive into them and be like, okay, why was I negative in this one slate? And I just so happened to have like a few lineups that were just heavily duplicated. And when I look at the lineups, it doesn't look like they should be, but they were. And it's like, okay, this is just like a little random as to why my 47.3K lineup with like not even projected super well with, two guys under 10% comes in duped like 18 times. And it's just like, I don't know how you exactly avoid that. But what I've been trying to focus on is like, okay, because I'm playing so many, am I grading out positive and, more than like 75% of them? And the answer is yes. And then it's like the ones I'm grading out negative in, why am I grading out negative? Kind of what happened. And I'm like looking at like the specific lineups and just like, okay, could I have avoided this lineup that, what came in so high? And I'm making a judgment call about like, is this lineup bad or is this lineup, did I get unlucky? And some of it's just like, a little bit random as to what lineups come in duplicated. Some of them you're going to know a little bit better. But when I look at like some of these lineup characteristics, and it's like, okay, my lineup that used more salary and more projection and was also a 5-1 stack came in less duplicated than another 5-1 stack that used less salary and less projection. Like that just feels like kind of weird. So I don't know how much there is I could do about that. But I think that, the more showdowns you play, the better idea you're going to get about whether or not what you are doing is useful or not. And if it's helping you. But kind of what I got from like the question is like, if you can put together positive sim ROI lineups without doing very much at all, why try to do more? And it's like, I'm doing stuff and, the stuff I'm doing is causing me to grade out negative. And it's like, well, maybe you need a lighter approach. You know what I mean? Like maybe you just need to do less. Kind of what I'm doing and like the balance I'm achieving. I'm pretty happy with my sim ROIs that like I'm getting on the other side. So I'm being pretty hands-on with my showdown process. And, in I'd say like over 75 to 80, over 80%, I'm grading out like positive, like out of like the 16 that I looked at like this last week. So I'm pretty happy with it. So I guess my point is, you can have a hands-on approach and like still be positive, but if you can also have a hands-off approach and still be positive, then it might be worth just doing that thing. So it's weird. DFS is kind of weird. And sometimes like using an optimizer is weird too, especially an optimizer like SaberSim, like a smart optimizer. Because I think people are so used to this concept of like, hey, the more work I put in, the better result I'm going to get on the other side. And, I feel like we as a team try to like flip the script on that so hard. And it goes against a lot of what like people are used to and like what people believe. And it's like, sometimes with SaberSim, it's like, no. Like sometimes the less is more. And it can be like tricky, but if you're grading out well and with a hands-off approach, I'd probably try and stick something closer to that. But the other part is it's not completely, outside of normal parameters for you to have a good process and grade out negative on like a random showdown slate. So the more slates you play, the better idea you're going to get of whether that's working or it was just unlucky like that one specific day. So that's what I would say there. And then the second part, talking about the geomean. So I think 20 is just like a decent baseline in general. The way I think about it is I'll usually just like look at first place prize and be like, okay, how much of this would I be upset with winning? Like if I win, 10% of first place, like am I okay with that? Right? Am I not? Am I playing the flagship and first place is $1 million? Like, dude, I'd be cool with 100K. Like, probably be cool with 50K too. so that could be like part of it, right? Like how many dupes you want to shoot for. Part of it could be how many lineups you want to get rid of, right? So like, let's say we come in here and run a build, just default build. Sometimes you don't even have to we've talked about percentages for like every other filter we've used, and I think it's okay. to think about this one the same if you want to, right? So you can come in here and not even do a formula and just say, hey, show me lineups with geomean less than, and you make up a number, right? Start with 25. And okay, that took about 10% of lineups out of the pool, right? I had 2,000. I'm just trashed 228. Maybe I'm cool with that, right? That's another approach. If you want to, I tend to like think about what first place prize is and, you know, what I'm okay with like taking away or like what dupes I'm shooting for. So that's just one approach to it, but 20 is arbitrary. You know, use whatever number you want, whatever number you want to shoot for. Approach it differently. That's okay too. So I'd say both. Nobody's wrong in that situation. All right, next question. Thank you for linking some videos for me yesterday, continuing the convo regarding multi-fill versus single fill. This may not be a good example / screenshot, but I have a bunch of single entry contests in that screenshot. But how does changing min uniques in this tab of my build affect the lineups entered into the contests? I had a mix of 150 max, 20 max, 3 max. Single entries. Does this change the lineup pool for each contest based on the min unique setting? Okay, so let's go to Monday because I believe I have an entry file here. Okay, so let's say I'm in this build, right? This build where I have multiple contests, right? So let's say I'm in multi-fill. Okay, I'm going to close the projection tab. So the way this works is this is effectively a list. So what we're going to do is we are going to sort all of the lineups in the pool by the contest sim ROI for the first contest. So this gets sorted behind the scenes. And then what we do is we apply your min uniques to that set. So this is the same as coming into the projections on single fill. So say I go and select the mini max. So I'm going to go to single fill. I'm going to uncheck all the contests. I'm going to select mini max. I'm going to go to the sorting metrics. I'm going to go to contest sim, target contest ROI. Since I only have one chosen, I'm going to apply 3 min uniques. And then I'm going to click save. So all those steps we just did happen automatically when you use multi-fill. So this just saves you time having to do all those steps. And then what it does is it goes to the next contest, sorts by that contest sim ROI, applies the min uniques, and then goes to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And while it's doing this process, the 20 lineups or 30 lineups or however many lineups it's using, it is removing those from the available pool each time it does that to make sure you get a unique lineup in every entry. So that is effectively what's happening. It's saving you a lot of button clicking in the single fill option, but performing the same task. All right. Good stuff there. Next question. Should I still change min uniques in the new SaberSim? I would say yes. And, you know, this one goes right in hand with this multi-fill thing, right? So the way that I've been using this is what I've been doing is I will go to single fill to start. And I don't really care about the sorting metric at the moment. What I'm doing is letting this just take the average of all the contests I have because I'm not really concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is I want to see how many min uniques cause my aggregate metrics to change significantly. And on a 2-game slate, this number is going to be super low. Like it might even be 1, it might even be 2. Pull out my average ROI, my average projection, and then I'll go to the min uniques and I'll start changing it. And then I'm basically watching as these numbers change. So we went from 115.7 to 114.9. We went from 75% ROI to 67%. And then at mini uniques of 3, we dropped down like over 2-point projection. So I'd probably stop at 2 here. And I'm like, okay, for this slate, I'm going to use a mini unique of 2. And then what I'm doing is going back to multi-fill. And then I'm basically going in and applying a mini unique of 2 to all of the contests that are like a 20 max, or, you know, I have like a lot of entries in, leaving like the 11 max. I've dabbled with like for the 3 maxes going like 1 unique higher. And then for the single entries, it doesn't matter because it's only taking 1 lineup. So you can just leave those at 1. But I'm effectively doing something like that. I'm using the single fill to figure out, hey, what mini unique should I use? And then setting the mini uniques, setting it like 1 higher for like the 3 maxes and leaving it at 1 for the single entries. And then multi-filling via unique rank, usually sorting by prize pool. So something to that effect is how I've been using this. You know, we're going to be bringing more information about what lineups are in each contest into this screen. But that's basically like my workaround in the meantime, because I want to know that information. And I wonder if you can just do it from here. Okay, so you can actually like do it from this screen too. You're going to see them up at the top. So this is all of your lineups. So you could do it in this screen. But effectively, that's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm still using mini uniques. I still think they're useful. I just want to make sure I'm not overusing them to the point where they start having a negative impact on my aggregate metrics. All right. After I build lineups, if I leave all contests checked and save under single fill, is it essentially the same as multi-fill? If not, what's different? Good question. So first part here is if you're using single fill, the first difference is whether or not remove from pool is toggled on or not. So remove from pool is effectively toggled on automatically with multi-fill, where it's putting lineups in the top contest, removing those from the available pool, filling the next one, unless rank fill is an option. Here in single fill, you can have unique rank, but if remove from pool is off, the lineups can still be used more than once. So that's one difference. Difference number 2 is that if you have contest sims, the ROIs are being averaged for however many contests you have selected in single fill, whereas multi-fill, it is so every time it's cycling through, it's changing the sorting metric rather than averaging them out. Those are like the 2 biggest differences that I know of. And then with single fill, you also get the option of unique random, and you do not get that option with multi-fill. All right. Good questions so far. Keeping it rolling. Okay, that's Discord. So let's jump over to the live YouTube chat. Question from Anthony. When a player is ruled out, you guys suggest to hit the red lightning bolt, apply the suggested player to replace, save your lineups. I have done it without doing that by just rebuilding. Is there a reason why you're supposed to apply that first? Yeah, so the quick swap tool basically just takes the player out of the lineups, puts projected players into the lineup, and it gives you a quick CSV. That way, in case anything, goes wrong with your late swap, it runs slow, whatever happens, it is the fastest way to get projected players into your lineups and non-projected players out of your lineup. I've also noticed that it helps with out players not being left in your lineup. So sometimes due to min and max salary, due to filters, rules, minimax exposures, etc. Sometimes out player will sometimes stay in your lineup set. If you swap them out first and all the players are projected, that typically doesn't happen because they're already gone and they're not going to be put into lineups with a 0 projection. So I did that yesterday with Christian McCaffrey. I think it works great. It takes like another 10 seconds. And I would recommend still doing that. So that's basically why we recommend it. All right, next question. During the Sunday NFL main slate, I was trying to late swap, but he kept trying to use the outdated field lineups and not the live field lineups. I could not figure out how to switch to the live field. Okay, so we had a bug on Sunday, unfortunately, where it would say like, hey, field lineups out of date. You know, do you want to use it? And it was an incorrect error. Our team confirmed that the live field lineups were still being used and the error was being thrown inadvertently. And we have applied a fix to stop that from happening as of yesterday. So apologies about that, but the issue has been addressed. And we're all caught up here in the Discord. So we do have our build review show going live in about 47 minutes here, 5 p.m. Eastern. I do have a full list of people for today, and we already have people signed up for tomorrow. So if anybody wants to get their NFL builds reviewed, better to let me know sooner than later. Best thing you can do, drop your DK username in the office hours channel in our Discord server. And if you do that, that will give me everything I need to be able to pull you up on stream and start analyzing your builds. But until about 35 minutes from now, I hope you guys take care, and I will see you all then. So looking forward to the next show. Thanks. Bye.